Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Hockey Hacks podcast. I'm Devon Davidson. With me, as always, Bruce Gunther. We are a proud member of the Hockey Podcast Network and the official podcast of Left Wing Lock, your number one source for fantasy hockey intelligence. Bruce, we're gonna get a little political here before we get started.
Okay.
Eat your vegetables first, as they say. So, and I just wanted to talk about this really quick, but we all know what happened with Nazem Kadri. There's the incident, obviously, that involved Jordan Binnington. And shortly after that, I put a poll out just saying, is Nazem Kadri the least liked player in the NHL? And there was a lot of response from it. And then, of course, after that, there was the racist remarks from certain individuals out there and the hate mail and whatnot. And we had a loyal listener. His name's Umar. So, Umar, shout out to you. Thank you for sending me an email. I really appreciate some of the things you said. One of which that struck me was that we have a platform, right? We have people, Bruce, that listen to us. And by not saying anything, that's kind of a message in itself, too. And so I just wanted to clarify our stance on the whole thing. We obviously do not condone any of what was said, any of that sort of behavior. Those individuals need to check their priorities and be better. Totally, completely unacceptable. Really, we rip a lot of guys, Bruce, right, on this podcast and on this YouTube channel. Milan Lucic, Tom Wilson, Ryan Reeves. We go up and down the list. Really, it's just focused around hockey, and that's all it is. And I just wanted to be clear about that. We don't support any of that kind of activity from anybody. So we just want to be clear about that here. And Umar, thank you for just some of the things that you had mentioned in your email.
Yeah, definitely, because I believe Kadri's wife posted some of the comments that were left to her and him on social media, and wow, like it just makes my stomach turn after reading some of those comments. It's like, just wow. It's like how people can be like that. I don't understand. Is that Kadri plays on the edge on the ice, but that's where it should stay, on the ice, not in social media. And that was just disgusting, the comments that he and his wife and probably family are being subjected to. It's just not, right.
Yeah, it's garbage. It's complete garbage. That's all it is. One thing Umar said too is he's got a young son who, one day he hopes gets involved in hockey and shares his passion for the sport. I have a young son. He just turned 5 today, so happy birthday to Nathan. But I understand where he's coming from, and he wants his son to be involved, but not when this type of thing is happening, right? And that's why it's just important. Like just be better. That's, I guess, one thing I would say.
Absolutely, yeah, just be better.
So there it is. There you have it. Absolutely no harm intended with that poll. It was just meant to be fun. So, in saying that, Bruce, let's talk some hockey here. Let's move on. Let's have some fun here before the noon hour is over.
All right.
And let's start with the games from yesterday. So first up, we got the New York Rangers and the Carolina Hurricanes. The road woes continue for the Carolina Hurricanes. Looking at their splits, home and road, they are 0-5 at home, Bruce, with a 8 goals for, a -13 goal differential. Their power play is under 5% at home, and the PK is under 70%. Conversely, on home ice, they're 6-0. They've got 22 goals for, plus 15 goal differential. The power play is almost 17%, and the PK is over 94%.
It's like the tale of two teams almost.
Yeah.
They show up at home, and when it comes to the road, it's like they stay home.
It's crazy. I can't say I've seen anything quite like it. Interesting note here: Carolina is being outscored 5-on-5 in this series. So it's 5-4, 5-on-5. But they do have the better possession numbers still. So everything is above 50% in terms of Corsi for, shots for, expected goals for, scoring chances for are almost 60%. 113-76, and high danger chances are in Carolina's favor, 48-31. Andrew Kopp got his first career 3-point playoff game. Some good stuff from him.
That's awesome, right? That was a really good pickup for the Rangers here at trade deadline.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. The top six, actually, the whole top six for the Rangers finally came to play in this one. They hadn't done much offensively, and so it was good to see. They had a total of 9 points combined and 4 goals from the top six.
That's good. They need it.
They do. And then, of course, Shesterkin was back to regular season Shesterkin again. He's stopped 117 of 122 shots in this series.
A great wall of Shesterkin.
TM pending, right, Bruce?
Exactly.
959 save percentage, 1.25 goals against average, and a 739 goals saved above expected. So some really good stuff there from the Hart Trophy candidate. Let's move on to the game we really want to talk about, Bruce.
Yeah, well, I was going to say one last thing on Shesterkin. That last number is that very last number is impressive.
Yeah, it is. Especially when you look at some of the other goaltenders that are still remaining in the playoffs.
Exactly. That's an incredible number.
Husso being one of those in the opposite direction, but we'll talk about that in our preview.
Yes.
All right, Edmonton, Calgary. I've been saying this to a few people this morning, but Edmonton really was fortunate to be up 3-0 through the first period.
Oh yeah, they definitely took advantage of some bad bounces. That first goal, I'm not sure what was going on there for the first goal, but
not ideal. Credit to Nuge though, because he buried that on kind of a tough angle.
Yeah, there was no hesitation. He just shot it. It was great play.
Then of course,
great play.
Yeah, and then of course Hyman scored on the power play, and I have to Chris Tanev. I'm not sure if you saw that specific play, Bruce, but Hyman just outmuscled Chris Tanev, and you can tell his shoulder is maybe 25%.
Oh, I'm guessing if you're seeing Tanev on the ice, they probably had a chat with the medical staff and said, "Look, your shoulder's screwed. You can play on it. It's probably not going to get any worse than it already is. So give him what he needs to get out there and see what he can do." And he played almost 20 minutes last night.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they were sheltering him. They put him out there.
Yeah, credit to him because he gave it all he had. And I think part of it too was a bit of mind games going on, right? This is kind of their last card to play.
Yeah, could be.
To some degree.
You look
right?
at the sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying to some degree. It's not the biggest, most significant play they have, but they're desperate at this point.
Yeah, and you took a look. Anytime he was hit, you could tell he was not in a good way. He was very slow for moving. Anytime he would get guys would finish their check or throw a hit on him, he moved very slowly for the couple seconds after that. So his shoulder is hurting.
It'll be interesting to see how he looks in Game 5 back in Calgary. Mike Smith, I was I was watching the game. I was watching the game on a delay, Bruce. Obviously, I was behind just because I was traveling yesterday, and I had a totally different paragraph written up here after that goal. And then I was just eating my words. Right, I was just like backspace. Schmitty battles, I guess, is what we'll say there.
Yeah,
that goal was awful. He laughed about it after, right? He said, "Well, now I can laugh about it now." But truthfully, had that game been lost by the Oilers last night, I think that would have been the series too.
Quite possibly, but also too, in what happened after that goal tells you a lot about how much the Oilers have changed in the past. Well, since Woodcroft has arrived, because they didn't even blink. They were right back out there hammering away, and Nuge gets a big goal a few minutes later. It's the team earlier in the season would have folded like a tent, and that would have been it. And these guys didn't. They just got right back out there and picked him up and put a couple away to secure the win.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Nuge was huge. 2 goals, 5 shots on goal. He had 6 shot attempts, 6 individual scoring chances, 4 high danger chances. I've got 1 hit. I'm not sure if that's accurate. 5 blocks was the other number of mention, and then nearly 23 minutes time on ice.
Yeah, it's great, right? Like they had said last night, he's the longest tenured Oiler at 11 years, and
he picked a great time to have his playoff moment.
Absolutely, and granted, he continues that. You look at his line, so his line with him and Hyman, and while it was Yamo on the game-winning goal.
Yep.
You get those 2 lines running, you get some solid work from the bottom 6, and Calgary's in a lot of trouble.
They're desperate right now. Speaking of which, you saw that clip with the 3 Flames trying to murder Draisaitl on the ice on the penalty kill.
Yeah. That's I think that happens every game. They just happen to catch that one particular one.
Oh man, I really did not. I mean, I know it happens, right? But just being my own bias, I hated it, and now my hatred for the Flames is very healthy right now, Bruce.
But you look at it though. Draisaitl does he just works his way out of it, and
Yep,
he's the second leading scorer in the playoffs. So I don't think he's ever going to retaliate. He's just going to go put the puck in the net. So
totally.
which is what good teams do.
I've actually been really impressed with how disciplined the Oilers have been. It seems like they're trying to just play between the whistles and
Absolutely.
avoid
Not
some of that
getting
physicality.
Yeah.
But it's working for them.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Speaking of Draisaitl, Bruce, first player with 3+ points in 4 straight playoff games. Like in the history of the NHL, he's the first player to do that. 22 points, 7 goals. He's second in playoff scoring, like you mentioned.
Not bad for a guy with one good leg.
Yeah. I don't know that enough credit's being thrown his way for what he's doing with one good leg, like you mentioned.
And he's still not afraid to one time that puck either. He's still hammering away over on the dot there. So
yeah,
they're feeding him on the power play, and he's still getting some solid shots off. So he's playing through it for sure.
absolutely. We should mention here, Calgary once again dominated 5-on-5. Last night it was 64 Corsi 4 percentage for the Flames, 53 shots for. So they outshot the Oilers 23-20. They outchanced the Oilers 25-19. But Edmonton still outscored them 3-1, 5-on-5. So I guess the big story there too has to be Jacob Markstrom. He has not been good enough in this series. I think an .850 save percentage.
For whatever reason, though, Oilers seem to have his number. And something like that first one. That first one was that first goal wasn't good, but some of the goals too. It's rebounds. Some of them are straight in shots. Like some are deflections, but
yep.
Whatever it is, the Oilers seem to be his kryptonite. So
some of it's defensive coverage too. Like the Oilers have been able to slice and dice their D, and Tanev specifically, right? And Tanev specifically last night against Hyman. Like Hyman just outmuscled him in the crease there.
Well, he's playing against half of Tanev, right? So if his shoulder's buggered, if they know which shoulder it is, and they go in on the side and where his leading shoulder is his injured shoulder, well, yeah, they're going to be able to, because he's not going to be able to push off or push into that.
Yeah.
So what they're doing there, but yeah, last night was a bit tighter than than Sunday night's game, but they still have to do better. And as someone mentioned this morning, did Johnny Gaudreau play last night?
Someone paging Johnny Gaudreau.
Paging Johnny Gaudreau. They said you hardly heard his name last night. And going back and thinking about it, I watched the third period. I didn't hear his name at all.
I was talking to Warner this morning, and he said that guy's terrible. He's half the hockey player Connor McDavid is. and it's Yikes. At this point, like, yeah, he's disappeared. Even his own coach, right? Daryl Sutter, when asked about that top line and their performance in this series, he said, yeah, they're a great regular season line.
Yeah.
So when your coach is taking digs at you, obviously you're not doing enough in the series.
Yeah. Well, whatever Connor has put in his Kool-Aid and Leon's Kool-Aid and that they are taking this opportunity. So I expect them to come out flying here when they play again Thursday.
Yeah, I agree. You had some other points here too, Bruce. You were just mentioning some of the numbers for hits and block shots and things like that in this last game.
Yeah, just some on Oilers defensive work. So some notes that I had here is the Oilers out hit Calgary 42-40. And when they showed the block shots on the screen, something really to take note. So the Oilers blocked 23 shots last night to the Flames 11. And I think that tells and goes a long way to what the Oilers are willing to do to win this series. As I mentioned before we talked off air, it reminds me a lot of the way Tampa is playing right now. It's all in to win. It's whatever it takes. That's the mantra that Tampa is using right now. And I think the Oilers are finally realizing that what it's going to take to win in the playoffs to get to that Stanley Cup. And I think they have embraced it, and they are doing it. Look at Connor. Like, it's just he's going through a wall, and they're going through a wall with him.
Well, I think Nugent
it's
Hopkins.
fun to watch.
Absolutely, it is. Nugent Hopkins mentioned in the press conference last night, like where Connor goes, they go, right? So they said every time Connor goes and does something amazing, the team's right behind him, and he's such an influence on that team and how they play every single night. And I think they've learned some really hard lessons the past couple of years, right? You look at that series against Winnipeg, the series against Chicago, even in 2017 when they lost in the second round to Anaheim. There were some lessons learned there too, right? So, I'm loving what I'm seeing from this team. It's a lot of fun to watch right now.
Yeah. As someone posted this morning, Edmonton is doing to Calgary is what we thought Calgary would try to do to Edmonton.
Yeah, it's been great. Loved every second of it.
It's been fun to watch. I really enjoyed watching last night's game.
For sure. Okay, Bruce, let's talk about today's one and only game. I'm going to get our presentation up here. We've got St. Louis and Colorado. So St. Louis, the road dog here at plus 205 on the money line, and Colorado minus 260 on the money line at home. I'm just going to take Colorado here, 1.5 on the puck line. I actually went on the puck line for both games yesterday, Bruce, at like some nice odds there. I think it was plus 180 and plus 220 on the other game. So some good things there. I mean, some games you just have a feeling they're going to go on the puck line, and that was great yesterday. I think you're in the same boat here as well, Bruce. You feel the same way?
Yeah, I think Colorado's going to close this one out tonight and
get some rest.
Yeah, they're yeah, definitely.
So no surprise, Colorado's dominated this series 5-on-5. They've got 248 shot attempts to St. Louis's 149. That's a 62.47 Corsi for percentage. Shots for at 5-on-5 are 134 to 89 for St. Louis. They've outscored them 12-6 5-on-5, 103 to 63 scoring chances for, and 37 to 23 high danger chances for. So it's kind of just been all Colorado all the time. Kadri leads the Avs in 5-on-5 scoring, and it's actually not close, Bruce. I didn't realize this. 6 points, 4 goals. The next closest player 5-on-5 is Gabriel Landeskog. He's got 3 points and one goal.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so Kadri's been great. He's actually, we'll see, I picked him in DFS today. He still leads the Avs actually in all situations as well. He's got 7 points and 4 goals there. Rantanen is the next closest at 5. I think for Colorado to win this game, pretty much more of the same, right? Just continue doing what you're doing. You've been dominant.
Just doing what you're doing because, St. Louis's big liability is right now goaltending. They're with Binnington sitting up in the press box with his sprained knee. It shows. It shows.
That was one of my keys for St. Louis here, Bruce. We need regular season Husso, is what I said.
We sure do.
So Husso right now has got a 4.99 goals against average, an 847 save percentage, and a negative 4.46 goals saved above expected. He's nowhere near what he was in the regular season.
Nope, not even close.
They also need more from Tarasenko, Barbashev, and Thomas. The three of them have just 1 point in this series in all situations.
And that's incredible. Looking at Tarasenko and Thomas, for sure.
Well, how many times did we talk about those two individuals during the regular season for fantasy hockey? Like, I think those two guys collectively won me 2 different leagues, right, Bruce? It was, they were rolling, and now in the playoffs here, they've pretty much pulled a Gaudreau. Yeah.
Well, Tarasenko had a pretty good first series against Minnesota, but Thomas has been MIA since the playoffs started.
Yeah. The last note here I had was the Blues. They got to just continue converting on the power play. They are at 33.3%. Which puts them 4th in the playoffs. And so they have to win that special teams battle. If Colorado can get a little bit on the power play, that'll be a key for them. They're 9th right now on the power play at 21%.
Yeah. Well, and St. Louis needs to slow the game down and just get back to what they do. Just tight checking, lots of hitting. Slow these guys down. Don't give them a ton of space because when you give the Avalanche space, we've all seen what happens when they get time and space. It gets ugly fast.
Yeah, it sure can. They got a lot of guys like to shoot the puck frequently on that roster.
They sure do. And they're not afraid to shoot it either.
Our records to date, Bruce. So after, I think, yesterday was my 3rd straight day at 100%. I'm up to 62.69%. And you've had similar nights, I think, Bruce, at least on 2 of those nights. So you're up to 55.22%.
Doing better. I'm over 50. It's good.
You're moving, yeah. So that's good stuff there. Let's talk some prop bets. So shot props. I actually like Devon Toews here at over 2.5 shots on goal. There wasn't much for shot props that were actually at plus money. This one I like for Toews. He's got 10 shots in this series, so averaging 2.5 shots on goal, and he's got 18 shot attempts through 4 games so far. So I like his odds to hit the over. Kyrou, I just think in an elimination game, also at plus money, he's got 9 shots on goal with 2.25 shots on goal and 12 shot attempts. I'm definitely not as confident in this one, but if you're looking for a plus money bet for shot props, this one I think could hit.
They got to shoot the puck.
Yeah. Goal props, I like Ryan O'Reilly for an anytime goal at plus 220. He's got 2 goals and 13 shots, so his individual shooting percentage, his ish, as we like to say, is close to his 3 is close to his 3-year average. He's got 19 shot attempts on goal, and he leads the Blues with 14 individual scoring chances for and 7 individual high danger chances for.
No, that's a good one. He's been solid for them all playoffs. That's
Yeah, so I like that one. And then Kadri, he, like, for the reasons we had mentioned earlier, he's been great. He actually leads the team in individual scoring chances for as well. He's got 16 and high danger chances as well. Second on the team with 13 shots and third in shot attempts with 28 individual Corsi for. And then goalie saves here. I actually liked Ville Husso at over 31.5 saves just because the Avalanche have taken 149 shots on goal in 4 games. So they're averaging, just about 37.5 shots on goal. So I'm going to take them to get at least 32 on Husso tonight.
He's going to be seeing pucks in his nightmares.
Yeah, I think so, Bruce. Okay, DFS tonight. Because there is one game, it's actually a showdown format, so I've included at the bottom there my showdown roster. But players I like tonight, Nazem Kadri for the reasons mentioned. Valeri Nichushkin, just because he's playing on that top line and he's a little bit more affordable. Cale Makar, just because he's Cale Makar. He's averaging 18.3 points, fantasy points per game his last 10. Darcy Kuemper, I fully expect to take the win tonight. And then Ryan O'Reilly, again, just for some of the numbers I had mentioned a minute ago. For a showdown roster, I've got Cale Makar as my captain at $14,400. Nazem Kadri, or Arturi Lehkonen as a nice value pick. He's actually playing on the right side on the top line. Nichushkin, $7,200. Ryan O'Reilly, $8,200, and Pavel Buchnevich at $6,600. And I think Buchnevich is actually leading the Blues in points in this series.
Either him or Perron, very close.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look, but take it away, Bruce.
Yeah, so mine's similar but slightly different. So I went with Kadri at center as well. So he's taken all the negative energy thrown at him and he's put it into his play on ice, and it showed in the past 2 games. He has been amazing on the ice for the Avalanche here the last 2 games, and I think that will continue tonight. Mikko Rantanen, another one. So he's been in this series their second leading scorer. So took him. Cale Makar for all that. It's Cale Makar, so obvious reasons. Kuemper, obvious reasons, because I see Colorado closing this out tonight. David Perron, who is their leading scorer throughout the playoffs here. So, and my showdown set for tonight was Rantanen, Kadri, O'Reilly, Perron, Nichushkin, and Lehkonen is my team for tonight going in.
Yeah, I think Lehkonen's going to be a nice play, a nice value play if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think he scored now, or has points in the last 2 games.
Okay. So there you have it. That is our FHH Live for today. If you haven't already, be sure to check out our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at FHHacks, on Instagram at Fantasy Hockey Hacks. Check out our website for more hockey content, fantasyhockeyhacks.com. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to continue doing these live streams throughout the postseason and throughout the regular season next year for fantasy hockey coverage. Right, Bruce?
Sure are.
Okay, well, that was fun. We will talk to you again tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Take care.
Bye-bye.